Excellent. That's so
You can
nice.
do art night with us.
Congratulations.
Right?
Yeah.
Should be doing that all the time now. That's like the coolest job ever. Doing art every day. It's great. Bunch of
There we
people.
And where you got the idea
Oh
to
my
use
God,
bubble
really?
wrap?
Oh,
I think that bubble wrap idea is awesome.
my daughter's an
Oh
artist.
yeah. Use it as
Here's
No,
the
you're
bubble
second.
wrap
Deborah
idea.
Vancouver in his first scooter. Tough luck.
Is first for what? Oh, the live. Well, we're all first in here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the prosecution rested today. And they went through the timeline with the map of all the times, and they put Alex there right up into the time. Maggie's phone goes silent, and Maggie's phone is traveling at what, 42 miles an hour or something? And then Alex, they have Alex doing like 81 miles per hour to and from his parents' house on a road that even the police officer said, the sled officer said he would not go 81 miles per hour on that. It's not safe. There's deer, there's potholes, and it was a mess back then. And no Cousin Eddie, and the prosecution rested. And then the defense started, and they had one witness. And then it ended. And how long is this going to go on? I think the defense hopefully will finish up next week. Don't you think so? I hope so.
Well,
I hope so.
probably, but then does the prosecution have one more crack at it, like going
They
back?
can, well,
or
they
is
can
it-
do rebuttal witnesses,
Okay.
and then yeah.
I agree, Hillbilly Pie.
I do too. I agree with Hillbilly.
What?
The
What
only
did you say?
Wait, what did Hillbilly?
that's ever been
Yeah.
today.
The online poll was the highest guilty it's ever been. Really? Well, let's try it over
Yeah.
here and see what it is. Okay. I didn't take
What
the
is
poll
I
today.
personally think he's
I
guilty.
didn't
I just
see-
don't know if they're going to be able to prove it. As Kevin says, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Well, that's the key word, a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
For
him
me,
saying he wasn't there. That's
for me today, the prosecution gave me my own opinion based on the data from cell phones. So I have formed an opinion based on cell phone data now because of their examination yesterday. I know a lot more about where he was and where he was not for fact right now. Before yesterday, I did not have those details. Now I know where he was and was not. And when you watch the interviews of Alex, it does not match his cell phone data. It does not.
Right?
Oh, look, Barb says, why would Cousin Eddie shoot Alex, his bread and butter? Yeah, why would he shoot his bread and butter? At one point, it was 82% with 20K votes. It's never been above 73. Aha, okay, Hillbilly. I hear ya.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I hear ya.
that's interesting.
When I sat on the jury, I listened to evidence and also attorneys. If one was in a hole, that was also.
If one was an a-hole.
Oh. Okay. I don't think you're supposed to do that, though, Captain Lee. You can't base it on the attorney. I hope that person didn't get guilty, because it'd be like, I think I saw her on there saying something like.
Everybody's been waiting all day to talk about this and it's silent.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone noticed how he looked at the expert today when he showed Alex was there at that time? He didn't like that.
No, he didn't, Scooter.
Why don't you come on, Scooter, and talk about it?
You know that last witness, or of the day, the first witness for the defense?
Right.
What did you think of her?
Is that that,
The public information officer.
right, the public, and she was talking
I
about
thought she was so unprofessional.
why did she, what that was all about,
she-
what, about that memo or something that went out that was
Yeah,
no
and
danger
she
to
was
the
laughing
public?
and carrying on.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh.
not good. Hi, Bunny darling.
Hey, Bunny.
Number
Thank
one
you.
fan. Thank you, Bunny darling. Good to see you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. I love the super sticker.
Oh, cute.
Very cute. Very cute.
There's Hil-
Show the
Hilda
evil
Victoria.
side of himself. It's in his eyes.
Yeah.
Is it in his eyes? Oh, yeah.
At the end today, though, he had the biggest smile, even his little,
Why would he have such a
Close.
smile on?
when that last witness was up there being a fool.
Yeah,
Oh.
but that really didn't. I don't know.
I'd like to get that picture and put it on a dartboard.
There you go.
Could sell
I'm
them
sure
right
he-
now. Probably market them.
I'm sure. Yeah.
He'd probably sue you for the rights.
Oh, there's another super chat, Carolyn.
Oh, thank you, Linda T. I freaking love this channel. Thank you, Linda T. Appreciate that. Thank you. No, but me and another guy held us up. We kept voting guilty. I finally changed once he changed, and they all got pissed off at me. Oh gosh, that must be fun. Gosh, I love Friday nights. To me, time is more valuable than money, and I always feel wealthy on a weekend. That's cool, Julianne. Really cool. And I don't know, are you off on Monday, Julianne? Do you have a holiday weekend? He was supposed to talk to Paul and Maggie that night about the drugs found in the computer bag, right? No, it actually said this. It was the 6th that message went through about the drugs in the computer bag. Wasn't that on the 6th? And then there was a
There was an update.
yeah, but that
She
was
did another
she
search on the
searched,
20. On the,
but the message that they showed was May 6th.
I actually didn't get the date from the bag of drug message, but I did notice
Thank
there was
you
a
too,
526 on the search.
Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you for the love.
Kevin is saying what Hillbilly said is very interesting.
What did
What
Hillbilly
did
say?
Hillbilly say?
He said the most damning part is not that he was there when they were killed, but he called 911 about 35 seconds after finding them. The whole courtroom gasped.
Meaning,
But why wouldn't you call 911 really quick?
But why did he leave the house to begin with? Why didn't he call police right after he killed him? He left the house to get rid of stuff or something. And he could have called the police then.
No, but wait, hold on a minute. If you're on the assumption he didn't kill them and he got there, called them 35 seconds, it would be more concerning if he waited 10 minutes, 12 minutes to call.
But if you were thinking he's the killer and he's trying to do this all perfectly, you think he'd push the button immediately and call him right on the scene.
But why? Because then that would put him at the murders.
It's not necessarily about the 35 seconds, it's the
No,
fact that it
they're
wasn't
saying
5
35
seconds.
seconds because he came home and found them. If he did the 35 seconds
Right,
after
but if
they
it was me or you, we would have reacted in 5. If we were
Hillbilly said
innocent,
it because he said he checked the bodies before he called 911.
mm-hmm.
The brains on the wall weren't enough to convince
yeah,
him.
that wouldn't be enough. I know exactly.
But you could be going crazy at that moment had you not done it and seen your child like that. You would probably take a
you
while.
could go like, I mean, 30 seconds. I know you 35 seconds. I don't know. He could have just, because he really didn't check them much. I don't know.
And really, I would want to run myself because I would think someone was still there.
Yeah, he said that he looked at Paul and could see, and he still checked.
See, but I thought he went to the house and got a gun. And then
Yeah,
when he
he
called
said that.
911, he said that I have a gun.
Yeah, he did.
Right, Joanne. A lot of his story with police is not adding up to the testimony from experts yesterday. He said things in interviews and stuff, and then the data isn't
But they
actually
could just
matching
say
what
he
he's...
was in shock, okay? They can say he was in shock.
But if it was me, it would have only taken me like 5 seconds to react. I would have immediately pushed 911. Immediately. Instinctively pushed 911 immediately.
You don't know that, though. You don't know that. You really don't. You don't know what kind of shock you could be in. You
Right.
could be in so much shock you don't know what to do. You're just
Yeah.
like in a day. Believe me, you could be in a total day and be like, "What do I do? What do I?" And just
Look around.
Yes.
And
yeah, I'm telling you, you don't know what you would do. Believe me.
I know someone who waited 45 minutes after finding her husband dead. She waited 45 minutes before calling
But
911.
why did he...
And or
Why was
what?
there a need for him to check pulses before calling police?
See, that's not the clincher for me.
Ambulance.
I don't, because you think you know what you would do if you saw your child dead, and you don't know what you would do. And it's probably the exact opposite reaction you think you would have. And you go into shock, especially with a child.
I think that sometimes, like, I gotta go with video reel here. You instinctively, yeah, you're wigging out, but the reality is that under pressure, you know, you probably, I don't know, I can function under pressure, but I fall apart afterwards.
I would freak the freak out.
Yep.
I don't think my feet would move. I would just
Yeah.
be wanting to move, but I would be too scared
know
to
what
move
we
there.
do
Yeah,
with that case. We just don't know what we would do. Everybody's
we're all
reaction and
different.
action is different.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, we don't know until and then we know.
I mean,
We never want anybody
there
to
was
know.
there was no need for any kind of sense of urgency. Let's face it, they were clearly gone.
Yeah, but he was able to tell in 35 seconds that they were dead. I mean, were their eyes open? Like, did he check for a
Veins
pulse?
on the wall would be back of their heads were blown off on both of them, I think.
No. Not on Maggie.
Yeah, but were they laying face down or face
Maggie
up?
was face down. And
Mhm.
Paul was face down, too.
Okay.
They were face down, but their back of their heads were blown.
No,
Or-
Maggie's head was not blown off. Paul's, only his face was left.
Yeah.
His brain was down by his feet.
So where were the bullet injuries actually on him?
Paul was shot twice, and then
One shot was non-fatal, and it left a gunpowder residue on the burning marks on the armpit, but it was not fatal. The second shot, he had it so his head was turned. They said his head must have been turned
facing
each
him.
other,
Yeah,
to where it when he shot him, it went up through one side and out right up the neck.
blew his
right
brains
through-
out. Really blew his
up
brains
the,
out,
the back part of the head.
and his skull, and all that was left was his face.
Right.
Can
And
you
then-
imagine the rush that they were having? Whoever saw whoever get killed, the
Yeah,
panic,
that would be Meg. She turned around.
the
and was
thought
shot.
of that though.
She was shot through the wrist. She knew her killer too, and she
Right,
saw her
and then to the
smash
leg, and those were not
the
fatal.
left thigh, the
Right,
hip,
and then
yeah,
and then she got the kidney,
yeah.
and
And then the head, the final two shots were,
fatal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. They think she was bent over or on her knees
Right.
when she was killed.
Probably begging for him to stop.
Very well could be.
I just don't understand how somebody could do that. Not only that it's his own son and wife. I understand that husbands and wives, they end up hating each other after a while. So that
Right.
but to do that to your own child, like,
Yeah, I know.
People do it every day. That's the horrible thing.
I know.
He was trying whichever way he could to get out of his.
But that really
Well,
didn't
that he
do
did.
anything.
Well,
That's
then
my,
why didn't he kill himself? Why
my
don't
problem
they
with
take
it.
him?
That's my problem. This didn't really help him in any way.
No, it didn't. It didn't
No.
at all.
No, because there
Okay,
was no.
this destroyed his life and the
Yeah.
life of his kid, of his son, and the name of their family. This destroyed everything. They could have gotten through the other stuff, even if Maggie was going to leave him. Even if she was going to say financial stuff about him, they probably would have worked it out with him.
The criminal case stops when Paul's dead.
But the criminal
one of the-
case, he
that's
could have
true.
gotten through it.
Yeah, but
He
he didn't
could-
think that way
Yeah,
at
he
the time.
could have. That
And he was caught. He was a little detective, caught him, told the mom. The mom was looking up the pills just shortly before
and
this
he could
murder.
have got through that too. Come on.
Yeah, but he didn't think that way.
Yeah, he could have
He-
gotten through it. He could.
Well,
Oh, was
course
he
he
back
could
on
have
film
got me.
again?
So now, if he does get off, what's his life going to be of?
That's what I'm saying. What did this get him?
Him
And if
Buster.
he doesn't get off, what is his life going to be like? What did this do for him?
Yeah. Being an attorney, he should have known better.
Okay, this didn't make
Oh,
any sense. You can't. He didn't even have a life insurance policy. It's
Yeah,
What the
property
hell?
in her name, which would have been his. The criminal case would have stopped. There wouldn't be any more questioning.
no,
The divorce wouldn't
no,
have happened.
No,
I agree, hillbilly.
The
No.
divorce.
If he shot her, he wouldn't get her life insurance.
She didn't have any life insurance.
No, if he did, he wouldn't have got it. From
Right.
killing, you can't kill her and then collect
Right,
her.
but if somebody killed her and
Yeah,
he
somebody
didn't
else.
even have that. He
But
didn't
what
even,
about the homeowner's insurance? Didn't he have an accident policy on there? Somebody
Yeah.
was killed in some kind of accident. It would like quadruple.
Yeah, but
the-
he didn't even have. But this is so stupid. He didn't even try to do any of that. This is just dumb. This is so dumb.
Well,
He just had so much pressure. he
That's
wouldn't
my
have done
problem. Why
anything.
can't you
How
show a better
successful.
motive?
how successful of a lawyer
Nothing.
was he?
And now they're right. They were doing that stuff with the temperatures of the body, and you didn't have a rectal
Right.
thermometer. And how do you know? It could be this, but it could be an hour earlier. It could be that.
I think he thinks he's going to get away with it. The way
And
he's
he's
smiling.
and he just might get away with it. But if he doesn't, if he gets away with this, he's certainly not going to get away with the financial crimes.
No.
There's that.
But I don't think you should get away with this. I mean, the Snapchat video was damning. It showed that he was at the kennel and he lied about it.
His first words, yeah, he lied.
He lied. He was caught. We could hear he didn't know that Paul was making a Snapchat video at that time
Nope.
when he came over there. It's like, we could hear him loud as day say, "Good job, Bubba." And then she said, you could hear him on
He's
that
got
video.
a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
It's a guinea.
You're right.
So then the mother's caretaker lied too.
Mhm. Well,
When she said what?
Well, she gave the time when he was there, supposed to be visiting his mother.
right. She said
Didn't she say that he told
her
her
to say
that he
45
was
minutes
there
to an
for
hour.
45 Right.
And she
And-
only said 15 or 20 minutes or
She
something.
told on him. She didn't hold that back. She
I
said
didn't
that.
No, but she still said he was there.
Right.
And he wasn't.
For 15 minutes, but he said he was there for 45.
What do you mean
and
he wasn't there? He was there.
But he wasn't there at all, according to the stuff today.
Yeah, he was. He was there. He was at his mother's.
Yeah, it was just a time difference. He said 15 minutes. I mean,
Yeah, where did
he
you
said
get?
45 minutes, but really,
Oh,
it was only
you're saying
15.
that they could not put him at his mother's house. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what I thought they said, no?
I
They
didn't hear
couldn't.
that.
he wasn't at his mother's house as long as he said he
Yeah,
was.
as long as he said he
Which
was
gave
there.
him more time to do the killing or the cleaning or the.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's
Oh,
what
so I
I.
thought they said he wasn't there at all.
No,
And
he
his
You know,
dad was
I mean-
already dead?
Think back to O.J. Simpson. We all knew he was guilty. We were like, he's guilty, he's guilty. And then
if it does not fit, you must acquit.
So you really don't know what's in the jurors' minds.
The Casey
Sure,
Anthony.
that's very true.
Yeah.
Well,
If it does not fit, you must approve.
Well, we still have the defense to go through, and once they do the cross examination,
Let's see if Hillbilly
they're
wants
going
to
to
come up
say,
and
well,
say
you're saying
anything.
this, but how could this be if, so that'll bring up more stuff.
I'll send you a link, Hillbilly, if you'd like to come up and explain your point of view. I'd like to hear it.
This might be the first time he's ever been told no in his life.
Sure. Yep, he's not used to hearing that.
Yeah.
I know, this case has me so confused.
And what about Buster's girlfriend or wife? What the heck is she doing? I would be long gone.
I would be long gone too.
Oh boy, you better believe it.
I know,
Because
the
either
whole
she
family
loved her or
was all,
she, you
such
know.
a evil or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Wait, I have somebody else wanting to join the panel. Who is that? Person that wants to join the panel, I need to know who you are. Let me know who you are, please.
I don't even join.
Well, they
Trying to
asked.
join.
I need to know who you are.
Oh, they sent her an email.
Oh,
You know what? Unless the wife and the son knew something else about him, and he didn't want that to get, whatever it is, didn't want that to get out.
Drug dealing.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because-
drug dealing, like, big deal. So that's not like there it has to be something
Okay, I got that taken care of.
more shocking or.
MA.
Maybe he was dealing to judges and lawyers and people that shouldn't be doing
Yeah.
this.
yeah, who knows, eh?
Yeah,
That's
I
why he
mean,
did
that's
that
it. Maybe
crazy
the wife
smile.
threatened to tell or something like, "Oh, I'm going to tell you're giving it
Yep.
to Judge Brown,"
And your brother and this person and that person. I want a divorce. Who knows?
And then once he
You've been
started doing
sleeping
it,
with
then
everybody.
the son
Mo
came
with the
upon
gimpy
that,
leg.
so he had to kill the son too because the son overheard or saw or.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were out driving around, he said, for a couple hours before that happened. He probably was going with him to drop off drugs and pick up drugs. And
He was probably going to kill him sooner and he just couldn't do it. And then he did at the kennel. 'Cause didn't he take a ride?
Did he ever get the truth?
He took a ride on the property with Paul to look through the sunflowers, and then he was in the truck with Maggie, and Paul was in his truck. I think that it was planned. I do.
Mm-hmm. Hillbilly pie.
Hey, hillbilly pie.
Welcome.
Hey,
Hi, hillbilly.
Hello.
Hey, hillbilly.
hello everybody.
Hello.
Been a while.
Like,
Yeah, it has a few weeks.
Yeah.
what's up?
It's been a wild few weeks, but
Has it been?
yeah, interesting.
Okay. You want to share?
You mean wild for the case or wild for yourself? You still there?
He's still here. He's speechless, maybe.
Yeah, he's here. Hillbilly is
Okay,
it.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
They were asking if you were talking about the case, hillbilly, or personal life.
Oh,
Rough 2 weeks.
yeah, I was thinking about my
My-
personal life has been a little bit weird.
I don't feel bad, brother. Mine's last 2 weeks have been like total chaos too, so I don't feel like you're alone.
And insane weather, huh?
Yeah, like one night we had the tornadoes, and the next morning
Yeah.
it was 32 degrees.
Exactly.
We literally had tornadoes go over the state and 32 degrees the next morning.
Well, it was, we had, where I live, it was 76 for the high, and then the following night it was 26. So
Correct.
I swing. And,
So you're a little bit
anytime
chillier
you
than
see
me.
that in the forecast,
It's
somebody's
insane.
about to lose a trailer, huh?
No, you're not.
Severe weather for sure. Glad you're okay, man.
Right, you too. Weathered it out. My poor dog loses her mind. Anyway, as for the Murdaugh, however they want to choose, everybody
Right.
that gets on the stand says it a different way. I felt like today was a slam dunk. I don't see how anybody could be undecided after that testimony. He was there at the time they were killed. We know that for certain. I mean, that's
The smoking gun.
well, his attorney's body language changed at the
Dramatically.
moment. What I can't remember, Griffin. If you're
Yeah, he
watching
took a
Griffin-
non-facial posture mode. I noticed that. He did
Oh,
not want
man.
to express anything at all.
He realized that he was representing a murderer when the prosecutor said, "Will you remind the jury what time the 911 call came in?" This was right after he posts this slide, and his car arrived at the murder scene at 10:05 and 57. 10:05:57. So basically 10:06, and less than a minute later, he's calling 911, and that's when Griffin just about swallowed his tongue. But it built up. There were so many things. It's like they showed his normal speed to and from town. Then they showed that when he left the house, at the point where they found Maggie's phone, he was traveling 42 miles an hour.
Right.
I mentioned that.
And less than a minute later, he's accelerating, and he eventually gets up to, I think on the way, he got over 70 miles an hour. On the
80,
way
up
into
to 80.
town. And then, 80 on the way back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, you hinted on something I was pointing out earlier today, that they literally said word for word, Maggie's phone was traveling 42 miles per hour. We're
Yeah,
all sensible human beings. We know that phone was not laying on the ground.
Right. Yeah, there's no way he can get out of this at this point. I don't see any way in the world they can talk their way around any of this. Well, and then there's other things.
Go ahead.
Well, we know that he lied about the nap. There's no time for him to have napped.
That's
Now that
right.
We know every point.
Yep.
We know, we're pretty sure they died right about 8:50, because we got all three phones have are logging the steps. They're logging movement.
That's
all three
exactly.
phones are logging screen orientation.
See,
Anytime
this is the same things you're saying is what I was saying while it was live today, Hillbilly. I was saying these things, and I was saying, like, this is way too much. It's all proof that he was there.
Yeah, they were just racking
I
them up
swear
one
that-
after another
Wait,
today.
wait.
One at a
Tell me,
time.
the screens, you're saying that every phone measures steps, and when it's not moving, and even the orientation of the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because they have the centimeters in them. and that data is sent to the towers.
We did it today. Kevin showed me.
Even if you're in landscape mode or having it up portrait.
Anything is a
They
data.
can tell whether the phone is in landscape mode or portrait. Not just, yeah, they know how it's being held, and they know when it changes. It logs it into the phone, the hard drive on the phone. It logs everything in, everything. There's nothing.
So Maggie was dead, but her phone went for a ride. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It did.
Right, yes,
Yeah.
her phone went for a ride. That did it. That did a lot for me.
Yeah, and she did not respond to a text that she normally. I mean, she'd been involved in this group text. She didn't respond at a certain point, and yet a few minutes later there was an orientation change on her phone. So it's pretty obvious he looked at her phone after he killed her. Same way with Paul's phone. Anytime it moves, it comes on to check to see if for face recognition. So it came on for like 2 seconds, so we know it got picked up. Yeah, it kept building data points. There was something like, I want to say 4,800 GPS points that they got from the car. So they took the data from the car, matched it to the data with all the phones. There is no way he's getting out of this. I'm 100% convinced that he did this.
But why?
So
though?
when
Didn't-
Maggie's phone went for a ride, was it in his car?
Yes,
Yeah.
traveling the
When-
same speed his car was traveling.
Yeah, they matched the
Right.
GPS point of the car at the moment. He got to where the GPS coordinates for where they found the phone the next day. His car was only going 42 miles an hour. So he was going slow. He threw the phone out and he instantly accelerated at that point. Again, what are the odds of that coincidence that's where he decides to speed up? Once he got to the house, he did not park in the driveway. They have his GPS coordinates he drove off of the parking slab into the grass down by the tree line by his parents' house. And then he went inside, and he was only there for 20 minutes and a few seconds. He sat in there, the road, right by the railroad tracks for a minute without moving. And then he drove 80 miles an hour back to the house, drove straight to the house. I think he was in the house for 7 minutes. And then he drove 30 miles an hour on his property, on his gravel road driveway, drove 30 miles an hour down to the dog kennel. And when he arrived at the dog kennel, 35 seconds later, he called 911. You have to remember, those bodies were not side by side. There was some distance between them. So there's no way he had time to see the bodies and determine he needed to call 911. It was all it's all sketchy. And then here's where I'm not quite clear, but if I'm not mistaken, the car returns to the house after the 911 call. I think at 10:13 is the timestamp on the GPS on the car, but the car does not stop. In other words, he did not go in the house and get a gun. Now, I'm not 100% clear that's what I heard, but I think that's what I heard, is that the car comes up to the house and then turns back around and drives 30 miles an hour again back down to meet the police.
There's over 30 inconsistencies with the interviews. 30.
Right. But it was
Yeah,
actually.
and again, they've got nearly 5,000 GPS coordinates off of his car.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see how in the world he's going to have Mr. Magoo talk him out of this one.
No, sir. Data doesn't lie. Humans do, but data doesn't.
And I saw cousin Eddie.
Oh, you saw him?
Yeah, he gave his explanation of what happened, and I kind of believe him.
What'd he
He
say?
considered Alex his friend. Alex wanted to meet him. He met him, and the way he said it is he didn't know that about the plan until he got to the side of the road, and Alex pulls out a gun and says, "I want you to shoot me," and he's like, "I'm not going to do it." And he insinuated that Alex pointed the gun at him, and this makes sense. This is why I believe cousin Eddie is. He says he grabbed Alex's arm and pulled it behind his back, and when he did, the gun went off, and it left a superficial wound to the back of his head. That's kind of consistent with what everybody's saying about his head wound. It wasn't really a gunshot wound as much as it was just a kind of a scrape. And
And then he went blind, and then he wasn't dumb or anything. He wasn't stupid or anything. Whatever is the stupid thing he said to his
well,
sister.
he says he went blind.
That's what he says.
No, he said, well, I ain't any dumber.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not any dumber. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his 911 call, he was completely coherent. So
I'm not any dumber.
he wasn't hurt too badly. And I guess he.
You know what I want to see though? I want to see him prosecute. I want to see I want to see him try a case because he looks like a moron to me. Like, I don't know. I can't even imagine him in a court like.
He looks like a moron to me too.
Because when he said, "I'm not any dumber," and some of the things he says in these interviews, he reminds me of like a 10-year-old.
Yeah, that's how
He's
his
caught
son
with
talks.
his hand in the cookie jar, and he does not seem like any type of a distinguished attorney and no type of a trial attorney. I don't know.
Well, by all accounts, though, he was quite charming.
I would love to see it because I would really like to see him in that role. I wonder if there's any
Yeah.
trial that was televised that he did or has any video.
Well, I don't know.
Huh.
I would like to see him in that role because right now he just looks like what's the word for it?
Well, like he told his son, you're going to have to get back to law school. You know, you got to study. Well,
Yeah.
no kidding.
Yeah, like what is the word? A buffoon. I mean, I can't even. If that was like, if I was going to need an attorney and I saw that, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to. You're not going to represent me. I don't know.
He might have acted like he was charming and all that because he's thinking he had all this money, or he did have all that money, and he was a
You
different
don't want
person.
a charming attorney. You want a sharp attorney, like a
Yeah, not
real
someone who rocks-
go-getter, somebody that's sharp as a tack. Somebody that'll,
Yeah.
toe to toe with it. I don't know. This guy looks like, I don't know. But that's neither here nor there right now.
You know what's kind of, we wouldn't be having this conversation had he been anyone else in that county because it would have been handled differently. And had they grabbed a warrant for his parents' house that night, I believe they would have found the gun.
Yeah.
That the data points that showed where his car traveled at his parents' house, that's not normal either. He did not park in their driveway. And I believe that the caregiver said something about him another time not parking there too, so,
Right, she did. And they coming in a different.
yeah.
Maybe he went back to his house, went back to his house not to get a gun, but to give away the guns that he used.
Well, from what the guy testified today, the guy that pulled all this data in from General Motors off the car, he didn't really have to say anything. Everybody in that room could tell he had the gun with him, and he ditched it at his parents' house along the fence line. He drove in their yard.
Okay, and so what about the shotgun? People are asking if he didn't go to the house to get the shotgun, did he have the shotgun with him?
Likely.
I could have sworn there was guns all over that place. But I might be thinking of the room where they went.
They had a
hunting.
room, yeah, they had a hunting room.
Yeah.
That had guns all over the place.
Well, we had about 3 different people testify that Paul always had a gun of some kind, multiple guns. There was always a gun in every vehicle.
Right.
And,
Laying out, yep.
So it's likely that, I don't know, he had the gun with him, but I'll check on that tomorrow. But I'm pretty sure they said in that testimony today that the car didn't stop. Like, after he called 911, the car travels back to the house, but there's no time spent at the house.
And I thought there was a few minutes, but all right, I was at having dental things going on, so maybe I have to re-listen to that part.
Lots of data points yesterday. Lots.
Well, did you hear about that video reel? If he went back to the house to get the gun, did they put a time frame in there for him to go back and get the gun?
From what they showed today, the prosecution pointed out that he was there when the crimes took place and he hauled ass afterwards.
Right.
And I think...
Why would anyone that just killed somebody haul ass away from the scene? It's pretty actually common. They're trying to get rid of something.
Right, but I mean, when he came back with that shotgun that he had by the car, the camo one, the
one he said he went to pick up.
Out of the house because he
Well,
was
that
scared.
one's probably irrelevant, period, from all of it. That's just thrown into the equation what he did after everything took place, and where he got rid of everything is the... Because that's...
But it's just,
I don't know.
yeah, if he-
Logically, you think that's why he hauled ass away from there so fast after the times. He was caught there. He would see, the thing is he was caught there at the times these things were, horrendous crimes were committed. So to see him fleeing away so fast, you have to think there's an exterior mode of getting rid of evidence, or et cetera, et cetera. You never know.
Well, he wanted to establish an alibi.
Right, and the data is like damning. More than anything, a lot of people wait for yesterday's testimony. They'll wait the whole case just to hear what they heard yesterday, because that's data points, and it connects him to the case deeper than he
it's
admitted to
numbers.
in
It doesn't have
interviews.
an agenda.
When people can now go back from yesterday's testimony and compare it to several video interviews and clearly acknowledge that the conversations are not matching up with the data points, that's when everything starts to click in really well. When you compare data with interviews, that's when things really unlock. Because then you catch them red-handed in the lies.
Carolyn, can you show clips of the trial?
No, I really can't.
Uh,
I can show like the discovery stuff, but the trial.
Maybe he did go by his parents' house and maybe he dropped somebody off. Maybe that's where the water came from. They squirted off the person who did do it and he dropped them off. He was in the back of the truck or something. And he just drove them over there. He went in the parents' house. If they didn't check the parents' house.
Well, because, you know, he hired
Well-
Cousin Eddie, or tried, well, he said he tried to hire Cousin Eddie to kill
Attempted.
himself. But if he had hired somebody, you could say then if he had really successfully hired someone that killed Paul and Maggie, why wouldn't he ask that person to, because why would he involve another person so another person can talk if he already had the one person, right? Wouldn't he just ask that person to kill him?
Yeah, he didn't want to be killed.
No, he didn't. He's too selfish.
No, but I'm saying maybe that proves that he killed them, because if he had somebody that killed Maggie and Paul, wouldn't that be his first choice to ask them? Instead of involving a totally new person and putting another person that knows something. Do you know what I mean?
Well, why would he be on the scene? I mean, if I was going to do it, I'd want to be on a business trip out of state.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's he's not stupid.
He
You
ain't
sure?
no dumb.
Yeah, I'm pretty
He
sure.
is pretty stupid. I think
Yeah.
he's stupid.
He did some stupid stuff.
Well, I've actually already given him a label, but I won't say it over the live.
He ain't
I
any
did
dumber.
in the Zoom earlier today give Sir Alex a new label.
Really?
Oh yes, he earned that.
I wonder if he
Lies
says
a lot.
as much as he
Koberger
does
ain't got
now.
nothing on the stupidity level.
I ain't any dumber. He said,
There it is. Cha-ching. You nailed it, Nicole. You nailed it.
I ain't any dumber.
I wouldn't trust the lawyer that kept saying, he sounds just like a little boy, like he said.
Yeah, he sounds like a little kid. Like, I can picture him, a little kid. He looks like he never grew up. Like, he rocks. Well, I don't know, you know. I don't know. He just,
Also lying about the drugs.
well, but then what about those messages? So he's not really lying about being an addict, because what are all these drugs she's finding in his briefcase?
I think he's selling.
Yeah, well, the going street rate for drugs is $1 a milligram.
$10 a pill for 10 milligram.
Yeah. So there's no way he's taking 50,000 milligrams a week.
He's selling it. He's selling it.
Yeah, I mean, he's lying. He couldn't function. I mean, we've heard him.
No, I think
multiple
he's selling.
times.
They said he's selling. They said he's
I
selling.
don't know what he's doing, but I'm guessing he's making money and it's going somewhere.
Yeah, but where's all his money going exactly?
Yeah, his money's somewhere. He didn't blow it on drugs. Ain't no way.
Yeah,
And
somebody said gambling, but come on.
he could have a drug habit, but we're probably talking about. I mean, in order to function, and let's remember, he's functioning. He's going to work. He's
Right.
seeing clients. Not only is he functioning, he's functioning at a very high level, because here's another thing that needs to be pointed out. He didn't have any real enemies on that day. None of his misdeeds were found out until after his family was killed.
Right.
He had been confronted that day with the first instance of his dummy bank account that he had set up.
Forge. Yeah.
So he's functioning at a very high level.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do that, I mean, there's no way he's exceeding 80 milligrams a day. And that's a lot.
Right.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
That's
Mhm.
a lot of narcotics, but 80 milligrams a day is $80.
Right.
So he's lying. And his lawyers have been spinning for him since this murder happened. They have been on local news giving interviews. They've been in the newspaper giving interviews.
Mm-hmm.
They, I'm guessing, arranged for the med flight. No EMT in their right mind would call in an expensive med flight for a superficial head wound. But they air flighted him to Savannah, Georgia.
Right. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered why they did that, because I thought, well, maybe it's the only level 1 trauma center. Why did they take him there?
I'm sure it was just all for show
Okay.
because it was obvious. Now I'm trying to think where I saw this. I think I read it on one of their local newspapers. By the time he arrived at the hospital, the bleeding had stopped. Like, so it wasn't even that bad of a wound. I don't know if you've ever cut your head, but if you cut your head,
Oh, please.
you bleed like a stuck pig, and it won't close. But it must have cut through the fatty tissue at the back of his head, more like on his neck than his head.
Okay.
They didn't even shave his head for the wound.
Wow.
So it's, yeah, come on, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Somebody said, hold on, Amy Uplinger said, a better question is, did the state prove he is guilty? And we're still trying to figure it out. What is the jury thinking?
After what the jury seen yesterday, they're thinking this man's guilty, probably. I would hope logical human beings can come to rational decisions based on conclusional evidence, based on proven facts.
Well, according to the lady that's in there, reporting for the Law and Crime
Right.
Network,
Yep.
she was reporting that the jury was just transfixed on the GPS testimony. They were all leaning forward and nodding, and it was like light bulbs were going off. So, unless they have, let's not forget, Harpootlian is a career politician.
Right.
He's been gaming stuff in South Carolina for 40 years. And they may have a ringer on the jury. Who knows? But I just don't see how anyone could be indecisive after today, after that testimony on the GPS. As I was saying earlier, 5,000 data points. They know exactly where that car was at every moment. We've got his wife's phone at a point on the road and his car at the same point.
Yeah,
Then we have
that's what does it for me. You know why? Because somebody could keep arguing that, oh my gosh, what if you don't have the time pinpointed? But him having the wife's phone with him and throwing it, that's what seals it for me.
Where did he throw it?
In the field.
Yeah.
Why?
It's not very far from the driveway.
No.
But that's what does it for me, because you could argue till you're blue in the face, oh, you know, maybe somebody, but no. If that, her phone, why would her phone be in his car, and why would he throw it in the field?
What was his point for throwing the phone instead of just leaving it near her body somewhere?
I don't know. I don't know why he got rid of her phone and not Paul's. I don't know.
I got a theory.
Yeah.
Maybe. I wonder. You got to remember, dude's freaking out, right?
Maybe he touched it and thought he had to get rid of it. He touched it or something and did something and he had to get rid of it.
Well, he knows that they can unlock that phone because he's got the passcode for one. But what if he didn't throw it? What if in his panic he had the phone and he set it on the top of his car and he drove off and it flew off the car? Just a possibility.
Oh, wow. But anyway,
I
he's still going to
suspect
place it
he
with
had
them.
the
How
phone
did
and
they
he threw
even
it
find
there.
that phone? How did they even find it? if he
Because
put
they
it
did
in-
find my phone thing, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Even if it doesn't have any power? Do they have, obviously it must have had power left, right?
Yeah, because it was being logged and recorded.
It did
Everything.
because
Every little
police that found
digital
it-
function, communication with those phones was all logged and transceived into those testimonies on the screen that we saw from the certified experts. as they broke it down for us. Those gentlemen are like seriously certified in deep analyzation of data. There is no accidents. The data doesn't lie. Humans make accidents, and sometimes humans lie to other humans, but data doesn't tend to ever lie. It's accurate to so many pinpoints of levels.
What were you saying? I'm sorry. I just
Me
wanted
too.
to. What was the question was, even if the phone is off, can they still track it though to there? Through the
The
GPS?
phone wasn't off.
Oh,
The
no.
sled agent testified that when she picked it up, she put it in airplane mode. Because if you remember, Harpoolian made this big deal about, well, did you put it in a Faraday bag?
Yeah, Faraday bag.
And they were trying to, at first, they were going with the angle that maybe somebody had messed with the phone, like hacked it. But then they had some of the technologists later on talked about how it was unidirectional or monodirectional. You can't get into the phone from the cloud. You can only get into the cloud from the phone. So they dropped that line of questioning. But the sled agent testified that the first thing she did was put it in airplane mode so that it couldn't access the cloud.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, I got
Yeah, so it picked up no further GPS and cell tower points either. I'm telling you, if you've got time tomorrow, you should go and just watch. I'm guessing it's only maybe 20 minutes. Now, he was on the stand for hours, but there's a 20-minute stretch of where the GPS of the car is, they have slides that they show the jury, and they showed us too, and they show the speed of the car, its point, and they show it on a map from Google Earth. And it's crystal clear where he was, how fast he's going, what direction he's going, and how long he stayed at different places. It was an absolute 20 minutes slam dunk. It's like, why didn't you just do this on the first day and walk away? Like, everything else just seems...
But I guess they did a lot with the video showing he was there. But yeah, this thing was, showed it a little. What cinched it for me,
I think
with their
anyone that
phone.
watches that 20 minute of testimony, I don't see how you can come away with any doubt after that.
I started watching it, but then the kids had all kinds of stuff I had to do. I had to go out, so I missed it. But I will. It's a about 2 hour testimony, 2 hours, 20 minutes.
Okay, so this 20 minutes is the best.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for it.
How far in do you have any idea? How far in?
With Carolyn's permission, I can tell you about a clip, but only if she says that's okay.
Yeah, you can just watch it and then just discuss the clip. I mean, she just can't play anything on here because it's
it's on the Law and Crime Network. They've clipped it. And the title is GPS shows Alec Murdaugh's car at home on night wife and son killed, investigator.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
It's 21 minutes and 15 seconds. You watch that. I don't see how you have any doubt after that.
We'll watch it. Thank you very much.
Sure.
As for the drugs, he could have been doing way more than that, because I know people that do 6 30-milligram pills per day, which is 180 milligrams.
Wow.
And they function normally.
Wow.
When your body gets used to doing that much.
That's insane.
Like, if you sat there and took 6 pills at once, you would overdose, but not a person who's built their tolerance up.
I have low tolerance.
I will pass.
Yes, I can't take any kind
They're
of
not
opiate.
working
Makes
as
me
trial
cough, but-
lawyers, are they?
Yeah, that makes me sick too.
I mean,
I just know
yeah,
people
there's,
who do that much, and I don't understand it. I'm like, how do you not die from it?
there's people that can do that much, but can they hold down a high profile job?
Well, yeah, only because they need
So, he was so,
those pills to function normally after a while, and you need more and more.
they said 50,000 milligrams a week. Is that what,
Yeah,
what?
at 180, that's 30 pills, 6 times a day, is 180. That's $1,260 a week.
Wait, but I thought he was taking Adderall.
No,
Oh, Adderall? I don't know about Adderall.
Just, I heard. You didn't hear that he was taking that?
no, oxycodone.
I haven't watched it all, so.
Yeah, Oxys and Roxys, yeah, that build a tolerance to it.
Yeah, what's
But that's
his
why when they
Rocky
get out of rehab, they think they can do as much as they
But
did.
I think
and
he was
that's why
taking
he's really
Adderall and the
died.
oxys. Adderall to stay up and do all the work he had to do, and the oxys to come down.
Doesn't it make you
They
scratch
don't.
your face, your nose, when you take those oxycodones or whatever?
Only if you have an
Probably
allergy to it.
You take, if they do that to you, you take Benadryl with them. That's how it was for me, especially after surgery. I'd have to take a Benadryl.
Yeah, I went through all those, after I
along
broke my
with
back, I went through all
Zofran.
those pills, but everything made me sick. So.
Yeah, along with Zofran, keep me from.
The Zofran, yeah. I had to
Totally.
take the Zofran. Even though
Yeah.
I'm on a patch now, because it doesn't
And
go
you
through my
want to
stomach,
take
so I don't
the
get sick from
Zofran.
it.
Right. Oh, okay, and you don't get sick from it now?
Yeah, no, because since it doesn't go through my stomach, it doesn't upset my stomach.
Oh.
But I take micrograms. I take 25 micrograms, so it's really a tiny,
Right.
minuscule amount. I mean,
Yeah.
no, yeah, there's not, like, I could never overdose on what I take, but,
Right. And it
well,
works.
it's not pill form either.
And it works for you.
Oh, really, Linda?
Yeah, it helps my lower back.
I doubt
It doesn't
that,
help
no.
the upper back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What I really liked about the prosecution delivery yesterday was the fact that
That's why we balance it in here, Linda, with silly songs and all that stuff. We balance it. You
rather
can't have
than
all true crime.
pushing like weird boundaries with a witness, like a seasoned, experienced expert, he let the expert and the data do all the hard work for him, because those are the things that speak the truths. And instead of like at any point going after the person that he's interviewing or any of elements associated like that, he let the expert and the data speak for itself. When you have a prosecutor that understands how to do these dynamics in a very complex courtroom, they're not your typical prosecutor, because he really understood how
Thanks,
that
Linda.
delivery needed to be done. So I've seen a lot of people say they didn't like it, but I actually respect it. It's like he didn't push any narratives himself. As the prosecution, he let the data and the expert speak for itself without interference. And it's not always easy to do that as a prosecutor, wanting to really let people know who you are strongly. I don't know if anybody else agrees or disagrees, but
Oh, it was just so well done with the slides. I mean, I'm a visual person, so when I can see a picture of the road and an overhead shot of the house, and they can show a little red dot and pull it up and tell me that his car was going this fast, and I mean, it was just it put all of the other data together. We already know about how I had no idea that a phone logged an orientation change or a screen light up. Every time you get not only does it log a text message, but it logs when you look at the text message. So we got all of that in earlier testimony about the phones, and then his car data lined up with everything we've been told before. It was a perfect presentation because of the slideshow. Let me address something that Amy said earlier in the chat about what if someone was waiting there to kill Paul. This is just kind of the judge will address this, and he kind of touched on it today after the defense made a motion for a directed verdict, and we can talk about that if y'all want. That was interesting. But the judge made a point and said, people get guilty verdicts all the time from both direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. We have a bad connotation of circumstantial evidence, but it's still good evidence. It's not shady or shaky in any way. Circumstantial evidence convicts people all the time.
Right, yeah.
And all of the circumstances surrounding everything they presented points to the person that got sitting in the courtroom as doing it. So you also have to look at the word reasonable doubt. It would not be reasonable to think somebody was going to kill Paul and use a shotgun and an AR 300 blackout rifle. I mean, most murders like that are typically handgun murders. It would be extremely risky for someone to stalk Paul, hide out on the farm, wait till the exact moment that Alex is leaving, and then shoot Paul with a rifle or a shotgun. It would be a handgun. So that's how I would address that. It's not practical for someone to commit the kind of crime you're suggesting with anything other than a handgun.
Right. Okay, and that, just so you know, on the 22nd, which is Thursday? I think it's Thursday. There's that new Netflix coming out. Documentary. And we're going to watch that. So the trial should still, it's still going to be going on when that Netflix comes out. So I don't know what that'll be, but we'll watch that when it comes out on the 22nd. Hopefully it'll be, it was an excellent presentation, Barb said, yeah. And Amy says, it's hard not to believe he is guilty based on being there, and of course the data. It will always be hard for me to believe someone killed their family, and for what? That's the hardest thing I have, and for what? First of all, that you would kill your own family, but and for what?
What if it was a murder-suicide? And I think that's not a stretch, because it wasn't too much later that he decides to kill himself.
Did he have,
Maybe.
okay, did he have the 10
Supposedly.
million? If he had I would believe that if he already had that 10 million on his life for Buster. When did he get that 10 million?
Oh, yeah, I don't see that that's
Because he wanted
connected.
Buster
I
to
mean,
be taken
you're
care
talking
of.
about an irrational, a person who's just been confronted where
Yeah,
his-
but if it was all about the money and getting out of this, he wouldn't want to leave Buster with this, right? So he wanted to, his whole thing was that he wanted to leave Buster enough money that Mizelle and the house could have been sold to settle up everything that had to be settled up, and then he
well,
would
that
have
was later. You can't think that he's a trying to be a compassionate, good father if he just killed his son. Like, let's take it one step at a time. Let's not extrapolate into Buster 2 months later and him killing himself. But at that moment, he's been found out. He's got the wife and son and the drug situation about to explode in his face as well. He knows all these problems. We don't know yet what SLED found at the house that caused them to reopen the housekeeper's death. It's now been ruled suspicious. They're going to exhume her body. You listen to that creepy 911 call before. It's like, if I found out tomorrow that Paul off the housekeeper, it wouldn't shock me.
No, and
But-
now that I know it's
Me
Paul, and he
either, and I
said
said
I
that
turned
for
her
a
loose.
while.
He said I turned her loose, and you hear Maggie go like because
Yeah.
I think he just let her wail her head back again.
Oh,
She didn't say
listen
turn me
to this.
loose. Yeah.
Here's something that just got me more than anything. Go back and listen to it. I have steps coming up to my house. Do you have steps going up to your house?
Yes.
How many?
Well, in the front, I have like what they did. There's at least probably 10 or more, maybe
Okay,
more.
you didn't answer instantly.
Right.
Right. She did. 8. I know, that got me too.
She's like, how many steps? She's like, 7, 8, whatever it was. She knew instantly. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's weird. But anyway, that's just a hypothetical as well. But let's say that he really does have a drug problem. He's been cooking the books for, I think, 11 years, they said. He stole over $10 million. He's involved in some shady deals in one way or another with Cousin Eddie. He's got this lawsuit, not just a lawsuit. I can guarantee you the family was falling apart because of the boat thing. Their time was up. The community had turned against the Murdaughs. And so Paul was going to go to prison. There is no way he's not going to go to prison. You can read some of the stuff that happened before the murders, and it's like, man, yeah, their days of glory were over. They were out there was blood in the water to send Paul to prison. So he's thinking Paul's going to go to prison for a few years. He's going to have on his permanent record, as they say, he's never going to be able to have a career because he's going to be a felon. And all these things are going through his head. He's also got some sort of health problems. He has edema in his feet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, high blood pressure.
Yeah, for a 22-year-old to have high blood pressure is kind of weird.
Right.
And he also, in one of the interviews, he says they asked him if he ever got violent with Paul, and he's like, no.
Never.
And then they said, well, did Paul ever get violent with you? And he's like, well, yeah, once.
Right.
Well, then,
Once. Yeah.
young men sometimes will bow up, but they don't. You don't go after your dad.
Right.
That's a line that 99.9% of the male population in the United States will not cross.
Right.
So we got that too. The boy.
And wait, why did he say he did? Do you remember the situation that he said that?
He said he had too much to drink. Paul had too much to drink, and he confronted him about something, and he attacked him.
Yeah, I forget what the thing was.
So we have that, an instance of Paul getting physically violent with his own father. We have.
But can I just say something and play the devil's advocate? He's
Yeah.
being questioned after
Of
the
course.
fact. What if he did get pushy with Paul too? You know what I'm saying? But he's not going to say he did after the fact that his son is dead and they think he killed him. He's not going to say, yeah, I was pretty physical. I beat
That's
the
a
crap
good
out of
point.
him. I used to put him up
Right, you're
against
not
the
going to
wall.
sit there in the interview and say,
Right.
yeah, I slapped him around one time
Yeah,
when he got loud.
you're not going to say that. You're going to be like, no, never did I
Your
get
brain's
physical
thinking
with him.
opposite.
I was just the most wonderful dad there was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he answered it so quickly in his body language. I'm leaning towards believing him because there was no hesitation whatsoever. But you could be right. He could have been beating up on his whole family for 20 years. Who knows?
Because I think he was he looks to me like he's a drinker, and you've got the drugs, and you've got, just probably, like, what'd you say to me? I could see him pushing a kid up against the wall, and then maybe the kid was like, get the freak out of my face, I don't know. Maybe it was something along like that, or maybe it was about the pills. And he
Well,
doesn't
if
want to
I
say
had
it. He's
to-
like, did you take my pills? Right? You know how he could be like that. This guy looks like he's could easily be a hothead. They called him Big Red, too. I don't know. He looks like a guy that has a fiery temper.
See, I don't get that at all. I get him as maybe even the family clown. Just like him, he's sitting there on 911. That was a joke about when he said, "I'm not any dumber." That was a reference to being deaf, dumb, and blind. And he's corny. He's corny in a very Southern way. And it comes across in all of his interviews. He's just a kind of a corny person. I bet he's the clown of the family.
I'm trying to think. There was one time, wasn't he, that he said something? Oh yeah, I know where I feel that way. When he was in the sled interview, the first one, when the woman said something in the back seat to him, he snapped at her, and I could see a real nasty side of him. And if he snapped that quickly at the sled agent, I could see him really snapping at his wife, saying, "Where's this money? What happened to this money? What's going on?"
Yeah, with his kind of money, he could just get another wife, though.
Yeah, but I could still see him snapping, because he snapped. There was a couple of times he snapped at the woman in the back, and he snapped again at Dave Owens once. During that one interview, he snapped at them twice. I don't know. I just feel like he
Well, if
he
I
did
had
have
to
an
put
issue.
money on something and just walk away from this and just say, okay, here, I'm all in on this, I think I would bet on a murder-suicide, and then he couldn't go through with it. And it was not,
Could
I
be.
don't think it was well planned out. I think it was he snapped, and probably something was said, and is like, why am I doing this? I'm about to lose everything. Paul has got me in this mess. The family's going to have to sell this farm. They were going to have to sell that farm.
Oh yeah, and Edisto, which Maggie would have been so pissed off about.
Yeah, I mean, they were in really deep trouble. And I just think it all hit him at once that day when he realized that the financial officer of the law firm had caught him. He knew they were going to find a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, at that day, there was only,
Typical.
a couple $100,000 that were, that he obviously had taken. And, but he knew that there was 10 million more that they were going to find once they start digging. So he knew that. Nobody else knew that. And then you've got the pills. You've got this son has just screwed everything up. I mean, he killed a girl in a drunken boating accident, and the families are all going to sue you. Your world is in that 1,700 acre hunting property, and you're going to have to sell it and find a new place to live. And that's going to happen, 3 days from now? You're going to have to go into the negotiations on that. I think that was 3 days out, is what they said. All of that just kind of, I think he just snapped.
Yeah, but they were also saying Moselle wasn't like some family property that was in the family that he was so attached to. They already had the other place, right, that is gone. And I don't think that he would have been like, oh, well, I'll make some money real quick and we'll get another place better than that one. I don't know that, like, and Maggie didn't seem like she was so gung-ho about that Moselle place. For her, I think it was way
But the rest of the family really, they love that place. The boys love that place. And it was special to them. And he's in his 50s.
right.
He spent 11 years skimming profits from the law firm. He's looking at this thing as like, this place is worth between $3 to $5 million. I can't do this again. There's no way I could come up with $3 to $5 million again. Yeah, I think he had one of those moments. And let's not forget, he was high as a giraffe's bunghole.
Okay, that night he was?
Well, if he's got any kind of drug habit, he's high all the time. It's
Right,
not
but
like
then,
you could
but don't you think he
dabble
just
in
built a
that.
tolerance to it? Like Sharon was saying, you can just build a tolerance to that, and it doesn't even. They're just used to it.
No, you get a tolerance about how much it takes to get you high, but you don't stop being high or you just quit doing it. No, he was.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you ever watched
on opiates.
on opiates. Okay, I don't know. I gotta look again because I swore they said that he took Adderall during the day, and that he took the opiates at night. Because with Adderall, if you ever watch, like, I think it was the Chasing Adderall, the people get like this speed high right when they take it, but then their body develops a tolerance to it and they don't get that anymore. But they can't get it through their head, they don't get that anymore, so they keep trying to take more and more and more, and it doesn't do anything. They cannot get that feeling like the first time they took it. And so that they've ruined their lives, a lot of them, because they've gone, they've completely taken so much that they're either buying it on the street, and still they're never going to get that first rush of the feeling that they took it, because it's really made just to keep people with ADD and ADHD stabilized, and they're not getting that feeling that some people think that you would have all the time, if you've ever watched that. So I'm wondering if he just is functioning like that. Even if he's taking a lot, it's not going to do anything. I don't know. I thought he was taking Adderall, but it could be. And I think that's why.
Be the same though. No matter what kind of drug it is, it's the same. That's why they call it chasing a dragon. Even if it's heroin, your body builds a tolerance, and no matter how much you take, you're always gonna chase the dragon because you never get that first high. But your body doesn't care. It wants it. Otherwise, it's going to make you sick.
But I just think because he looks like, you just see when he's in there and he's like, his legs can't stop shaking. That looks like somebody that's got, like, you'd say have 16 cups of coffee, or has a hell of a lot of Adderall in their system, a stimulant. His legs.
They were pretty clear about it being opiates.
Okay.
Yeah, it's no doubt it was opiates. And
I'm gonna check that out. I don't know why I have this in my head.
Yeah, it was opiates.
I know he had opiates. I know that, but I swore that they said he took Adderall
The
too.
little blue pill, the little detective was talking about, I believe, was an Adderall.
Yeah, it's probably the blue ones are
The blue one was an Adderall, and I think the white ones were the oxycodone, right?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, because the rocks are usually different colors. They're green or blue. Blue ones are 30 milligrams. Green would be 15.
That's crazy. He had that many though, like per week.
He was spending $50,000 a week on drugs he bought from Cousin Eddie.
He was selling. To God knows who.
well, yeah, he would be dead.
God knows who.
Yeah, 50,000 a week. No, that's definitely
That's
something.
awful.
It's 1,500 a week. That's that's normal. Not 50,000. That's
Yeah, that's
well,
right.
unless he was buying it for the whole entire month or something like that. Maybe he bought them a month at a time. I don't know.
I don't know.
Even
Even a month,
1,500 a week is
a lot.
excessive to the point. I just don't think he could be
Yeah,
functioning as a trial attorney.
50,000. It's 50,000 a week. Okay, so 50,000 a month would
Yeah,
be
he's
way over.
lying. That's just all there is to it. That's a lie covering up his money laundering. There's something else going on.
Yeah.
And we'll probably find out because they're not through investigating. There's two other investigations still going on. He's been charged with 99 other crimes, and I suspect that Cousin Eddie is going to roll on him in order. Cousin Eddie says no crime was committed. He's like, I didn't call the cops because you're going to call your cops on your best friend who was wanting to kill himself, but you took the gun away from him. No, you don't call the cops on that. But Cousin Eddie's involved in something because he's been running money.
Right.
So there's some sort of money laundering operation going on, and because Alec came up with a story and accused Eddie, and now Eddie's charged with attempted murder, or I don't know if they got him attempted murder or assisted suicide is what they've got him
Right.
with, and insurance fraud. And he says, didn't happen. I wasn't going to kill Alec Murdaugh. No way. And I stopped him from killing himself. And so with whatever money laundering scheme he had going on, I guarantee you, Eddie's not going to be loyal after this. So we'll find out. It could be a year or two.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on down there.
Definitely.
Definitely a lot.
Somebody else. I'm trying to think of what.
And one more thing, as far as reasonable doubt goes, and it's something that the judge, he's going to give some like textbook great jury instructions. If you have a chance to listen to his ruling on the directed verdict, man, he's a really sharp dude, and he explains things like a teacher explains things. You can tell he's talking to everyone in that room, not just the attorneys. He wants everyone to be crystal clear about his ruling. They're going to have a tough time on an appeal. He's really kept it tight, but on reasonable doubt, you can always come up with a scenario where someone either did a crime or did not do a crime. We could sit here and speculate 3 or 4 different ways that Alex could be innocent. But the way it's been explained is no reasonable person would assume that that was a possibility given all of the circumstantial and direct evidence that's presented in the case. It would be foolish to come up with the scenario where they were innocent given all these other facts. You always can. You can always come up with something. But it's not something that would be rational or a reasonable person would do given the gravity of this case. Like if you're on the jury, you have to be reasonable about it. You can't come up with wild scenarios. You have to say, here's what the prosecution presented. We've got all these cell phone records. We know better about the time that they died than any coroner or medical examiner could ever do. We know when they stopped taking steps because of their phone stopped moving. We know when they didn't look at the screen because their screen didn't light up. So they've got it down. I want to say that the first murder happened at 8:50. Or it could have been the second murder, but roughly they were killed at 8:50. There's no other movement on the phone. it's airtight there. We know what time they were killed. It's not the best. Well, the coroner said there's a 3-hour window for him. The medical examiner didn't do the autopsies for 2 days. So this is kind of typical stuff. They can give you a window. Usually, with the best they can do is within an hour, unless someone saw a murder, unless someone was witnessing the exact moment someone was killed. They can only give you a window. But with this cell phone data, man, they've got it down to, we think they died at 8:50. And
Right. Absolutely.
Alec
And
Murdaugh was at the house at 8:50.
that's even better, in my opinion, than a generalized time, 3-hour window, or anything of that degree. This is an
It's terribly specific. And
Yep.
we know he was there. This is something else that I think they had one witness that talked about one of the gun guys, the guy that testified the angle of the shooting. He was a gun expert. He
Right,
teaches
Kelly,
firearm
Ryan Kelly,
instruction.
Ryan Kelly.
A lot of things, Scooter.
There is no way you could hear a 300 blackout being shot. The distance between that shed and his house out in the middle of the country where there's just not a lot of noise. There's not any background noise, no traffic. That is a really loud rifle.
Right.
Like, you can hear that easily a mile away. And we're talking yards.
Right.
There was 5 300 blackout rounds shot at the same time Alex Murdaugh was in his house. He's not going to go investigate that or call the cops.
Right.
No
yeah.
way. And I hope that in their closing arguments, they stress the fact that that's a loud gun. There is no way that.
Well, they should let the
especially
jury. They should let the jury hear it. Gosh, that sounded like a gunshot right there.
Sorry.
They
Yeah, let's
should.
have a
World.
field trip. Let's go to Moselle.
They should no, or even a video of it. Let them hear how loud it is.
A
You
demonstration
can't
video.
replicate it in a video.
It echoes through the woods.
If I was standing within a few feet of you and I shot that gun, your ears would.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I've heard those guns.
Yeah, if you're a few feet away, your ears will ring like you were at a concert.
Right.
Like you'll have diminished hearing for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way he was at the house and didn't hear those guns. And then he leaves. Here's something else. I'm not exactly sure on this one. I think I'm right on the minutes, but as they say, don't quote me. There was 17 minutes between the last phone activity and the time his car left Moselle. So he had 17 minutes to change clothes and figure out what his next move was going to be. There were so many things that have been stacked up with this now that there's not a rational way for him to be innocent in my mind.
Yeah.
I agree with you on everything. Yeah.
I mean,
He
today
sure likes his candy, though.
was really it. They proved that he was there at the
That's
time the
important.
murders occurred.
I just said for me, it's the wife's phone.
Oh, that too. All of it. The very, very damning evidence. I really think his goose is cooked. Really do. The Snapchat video, the data, the phone, all of it.
Yeah, the speed he was driving,
Yeah.
where the phone was found,
He
and he
was with-
speeds up after that, and he drives 80 miles an hour to get home. What was he in such a rush for? Why would you drive on a dangerous road at night
Right.
like a maniac unless you have
Right. Because you're just going home, right? You're going home to bed. You know, you don't need to go 80 miles an hour.
So yeah.
It's like a combination of the evidence again.
My cat agrees. I told him. I know. These evil people out here.
What are you talking
I know.
about?
You don't hear my cat.
No.
Might be the noise cancellation. I don't know. He's pretty loud. He's pertankerous. P-U-R-R. Pertankerous.
Yeah, I wonder how long the defense will go on, you know? Maybe sometimes they just wrap it up real quick. I don't know. Someone said, when do they go? Tuesday is the next day, because Monday is President's Day.
Alex is gonna make them put up a hell of a fight. I guarantee it.
They got off to a really weak start.
Okay, Linda, that's good.
Their first witness, did they have two today?
One.
Just the one?
Yeah.
And the judge was not amused.
No.
No, he wasn't. He nipped that in the butt really quick.
Well, when on the redirect, Harpoolian asked her, he thought the guy was trying to pick her up or whatever. It's like, folks, this is a trial for double murder. The judge's face was just full of rage looking at Harpoolian.
Yep.
They're going to drag this out.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know if he will allow that in his presence. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure if that man will actually allow that in his presence. He's let some things go just a little far, you know what I'm saying, the badgering of a witness. But at the same time, you have to go through that experience in the courtroom to know where you've gotten. And I don't know if he's going to let any malarkey go on in his room.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, they're going to have...
Because you know what they did at the end of that was malarkey, right? That was...
Yeah.
Even to present that to the judge was astonished me that any defense team would approach the judge that way in a double murder case.
Yeah, the judge was not... He did not think that was funny.
Like, right after we just got told the facts, you're going to make a statement publicly like that to the judge on TV? I was kind of taken aback by it, honestly.
What did they say? I missed it.
They made some statements to the judge they shouldn't have, and it was overruled.
Like what? Like, what did they say? What were they about?
I was
you want to do the
about something else.
Do you remember the statements where they brought it to the judge at the end, Hillbilly, the way they worded that? Trying to get him to...
Oh, you're talking about... They filed a motion for a directed verdict. The defense did. After the prosecution rested their case, they filed a motion for a directed verdict, and the judge addressed it. They got to present their facts, and then the prosecution had the rebuttal, and then the judge basically said what I said a few minutes ago, that a jury finds people guilty all the time based on both direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. And if the circumstantial evidence points to somebody being guilty, then it's our court system's duty to let the jury make that decision. And so he ruled against their directed judgment. Directed judgment said that the judge, this is what the defense asked the judge, to direct the jury to come back with a verdict of not guilty because no evidence had been presented that showed Alec Murdaugh had, they didn't have the murder weapon.
Right.
They didn't have, bloody clothes and all this other
Uh-huh.
stuff. So they said because there was, all this evidence was missing, that the state had not presented a proper case to show that, he should even be on trial. So they had to, the judge should direct the jury to find him not guilty, and that's the only verdict they could come back with. And the
Oh,
judge
gee.
basically told them that they were being ridiculous.
Right. Gotcha.
But
Thanks.
then the defense started calling a witness, and they got this public information officer from the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division,
Uh-huh.
and she made a joke about she just got married, or had gotten married since this murder had occurred, and there was some, like, inappropriate, in my opinion, like, comments about, did you want to date me or something like that. I don't remember how she worded it, but it was like, it didn't seem, she was trying to have a moment of levity, and it just wasn't appropriate for what we're doing there. And there was some banter back and forth between the prosecutor and her. And then that was on the redirect, I guess. And then Harpoolian stands up and says, one more question. And you just go watch the last couple minutes of that trial today and you'll see it. He asked this lady if she was interested in dating the prosecutor or something like that. And there was some laughs in the courtroom. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it wasn't funny. And the judge didn't laugh. And the judge looked at Harpoolian like, you're wasting my time. I mean, you stood up to, no, that was what they call the redirect. The other's called cross-examination. So, yeah, he asked to redirect, and the judge let him. He stood up and asked that stupid question just to make a joke. Well, no, the judge was not amused.
That was definitely the wrong time to say something like that. After all that seriousness, why would you?
If you didn't
Go
see
there.
it, you ought to go watch it, because, I mean, there was laughter, but I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't
just
think it was funny or appropriate.
Me either. You've just been your whole defense team has just been educated, schooled, and informed with confirmed facts, and you're allowing this to go on publicly.
Yes, he was asking the question over and over and over and over again in a different way, and then the lady looked at him and said, "Oh, you're asking me the same question over, just in a different way. Are you interested in dating me or something?" It really didn't make any sense, and it wasn't funny, but people did laugh.
Yeah, it was real weird, and the fact that Harpoolian though got up at the end because he wanted to get the last word in and be seen. He's just such a showman. I cannot stand that guy. Well, and this is coming on the heels of everybody in that room realized that Murdaugh was guilty today. If you were doubting a little bit, I think most of the doubters went away today. The only people that are still doubting have not followed the whole thing. They just checked in and out, and they got little pieces of it. If you've got every nugget that's been presented in this case, there's no way you can see him as innocent. But yeah, they did all of that, and then as video reel said, the judge just got finished kind of scolding them for bringing this directed verdict motion. He just told them, why are you doing this? Because they certainly have presented a case, and the jury deserves to be the one that decides this case, not me. And we're moving on. Your motion is denied, and then they come back with this joke testimony. And there's no reason for her to even be called.
None.
You know what they were doing with her?
Playing games.
Playing games. They were trying to show she had put out a press statement that said SLED, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, issued a public notice that there was no danger to the general population public after these murders. And that's true whether they thought Alex was the suspect or not. But they were trying to say, look, see, from the day one, they were pointing their finger at Alex. They were out to get poor little pitiful Alex. They never had another suspect but him. And that's not what that statement said to me. What it said basically is, this isn't a serial killer, folks. It was targeted. It was either somebody deliberately killed the Murdaugh family. It didn't say Alec Murdaugh killed them. That's not what that was. But it was just smoke and mirrors. So their very first witness was just a ridiculous call. So they're going to waste a whole lot of time. I'm guessing they're going to go 9 days of testimony. So that means all of next week. We got a short week. That's 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Five other days after that. And then you're going to have closing arguments. They're each going to take a day for that. So that's nearly 3 more weeks of this trial. That's not counting how long it takes the jury to sit in a room. That could take a couple of days.
Right. Yep. And on this one, probably it will.
Was this, what day are we on?
This is 18. Well, without counting the opening statements, it's 18th day of testimony, I believe.
So you got to figure the defense is going to do at least half of that. Right?
Well, sometimes it's surprising. They have a few witnesses and they close it up. But they have a lot of people on their list. I know when I read it that the defense was going to call.
And given this first witness, how ridiculous it was. I mean, it's the public information officer. She had nothing to do with this case other than she got an email from her boss that said, put out this statement. That's basically what she testified to. We coordinated with supervisors to tell the public that they were not in danger. That's all that was. And it wasted, 20, 30 minutes of time.
Right. Yep. I don't know. So we'll see what happens next week, next Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah. See, it seems like a long time, but I really want to see that Netflix documentary on the 22nd. Interested to see that and how they do that and how it falls in with this case, like where they'll be. I don't know, because a lot of people are waiting to see that too, and I just wonder if it'll be as good as the HBO one. The HBO I thought was really good. And they have the people that were in that HBO documentary. That guy with the white hair, the very thick white hair, one of the writers. He's right like behind Murdaugh, but over one row, and he's there every day. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. So I think hopefully the Netflix one will be good. I hope so. Linda T, stop with what word? What? Circumstantial? What word, Scooter? I don't know. But I'm going to end the stream here, but I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll have an auction tomorrow too, and then something after that. But thank you for coming. Thank you so much for the super chats. I love you guys. God bless. Prayers for all that need them. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye now. All right.